guys, welcome back to Dimitra's Dishes. So today I'm going to teach you how to make Souzoukakia. And Souzoukakia are really just the Greek word for saying Greek meatballs, and they're not really shaped like meatballs. They're like longer shape, more like a kebab shape. And let me take you over the ingredients. We're going to need, for the meatballs themselves, we're going to need a pound of ground beef. And this is not really lean beef. It's 85% lean, and it has like a little bit of fat in it. We need some shredded Parmesan, some chopped parsley. I've chopped some onion and garlic in my food processor, and then I laid it in a bowl over paper towel to catch all the moisture that comes out, so that way it doesn't water down the meatballs, and they'll stay together better. Then we need some egg and milk, panko breadcrumbs, oregano, salt, pepper, and crushed red pepper flakes. That's for the meatballs themselves, for the Souzoukakia. And then for the sauce, it's really simple. I started sauteing my onion and my garlic until it's nice and golden, so you need that. You need some canned tomatoes, and I just buy any canned tomatoes and I puree them in my blender, and it's good to go. You need some freshly ground pepper, olive oil, salt, oregano, dried oregano, some basil for garnish, a bay leaf, a tiny bit of sugar, and it doesn't make the sauce sweet, but it gets rid of that acidic flavor that the tomatoes have. And what's common in lots of tomato sauce in Greece is ground cinnamon. You can't taste that it's there, but it gives that really nice, earthy, really good flavor to it. So let me start by adding my tomatoes to my already sauteed onion and garlic. And really all I did was just cook them until they're nice and soft and golden. And I started cooking my onion first. That took about 10 to 12 minutes. And then I added my garlic for another 2 to 3 minutes, because garlic burns quickly, so you want to cook it, at the last step of, cooking the onions. I'm going to add my tomatoes in here. And all of my spices, except for my basil leaves, because those are just really for garnish. Put that in there. I'll save these for later. Put some pepper. And I've already put salt in here. I'm going to taste the salt in the end. I'm going to bring this to a boil. And once it comes to a boil, I'm going to lower the heat to a simmer and let it cook and kind of reduce and get nice and thick for about 15 minutes on a very, very low heat. And that's going to create a wonderful tomato sauce. So make sure while you're doing this, you heat up your oven. You turn your broiler on, actually, on high. And this is coming to a boil slowly. So as soon as it comes to a boil, I'm going to lower it to a simmer and then let it cook at a low heat for about 15 minutes while we prepare our meatballs. Okay, so I'm going to add my onion and chopped garlic, and I did that in the food processor. This on the side. And add my egg with my milk. But let me do that afterwards. Let me add the breadcrumbs and all of the seasonings. You just basically throw everything together and you mix it up with your clean hands, and then you form the Souzoukakia. It's that easy. So my Souzoukakia recipe is very, very similar to my keftedes, which are my Greek meatballs recipe. The only thing that's really missing from here is the chopped up bell pepper. You could definitely add that if you like. Okay, so I'm just going to mix this up with my clean hands, or hand, because I forgot to take off my ring. So I'll just use one hand, and we're just going to mix these up until everything is really nicely incorporated. Then I'm just going to form my Souzoukakia. Okay, so my meat is nice and mixed, and at this point you can refrigerate it for about an hour so it can set, and the flavors can kind of like permeate through the meat and make them like really super flavorful. But I've done this, many times just like this in a hurry. I usually don't have that extra time, and it comes out really, really good as well. So I have my half-sheet baking pan, which I highly recommend. That there are certain things that you just must have if you're cooking, all the time at home. And a bunch of these half-sheet baking pans are a must. They're good for everything. Baking, for just anything, for even holding the baking pans, for broiling, for making cookies. Okay, so we're going to make a nice ball the size of, almost like the size of my palm. And then what I'm going to do is just form it into an oblong type shape, almost like a fat kebab. It's going to be a little bit pointed on the edges. And you don't want them to be too skinny, otherwise they can like fall apart in the sauce. You want them to have like body to them. So I'm going to keep making these. This should make about 16 Souzoukakia. Alright, so I formed my Souzoukakia and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 14 and then one little meatball, and you can definitely form these in meatball shapes and do the same thing. This is just how I ate them growing up, so it's kind of, I like to make them this shape, but you can definitely make them meatball size shape and make like spaghetti and meatballs, spaghetti meatballs type dish. So I'm going to pop these in my broiler for 5 minutes and let them cook 5 minutes on one side. Then I'm going to flip them over and let them cook another 5 minutes on broil on the other side, and then I'm going to take them out. Okay, so the Souzoukakia came out of the oven, and I left out of the broiler actually. I let them cook about 2 minutes more. One side is not very like brown, and that's fine. You don't want them to be overcooked because you want them to be nice and soft and really delicious. You don't want them to be dry and kind of hard. So they're going to continue cooking in the sauce. So I just wanted one side to get a little bit of that golden color. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Like that. When I turn the other side around, they don't really have a lot of brown color on them, and that's fine. So I cook them like 7 minutes on one side and 5 on the other. Let me show you what my tomato sauce has reduced to, and it just looks so thick and delicious. Let's take a look at that. And it smells so good, you guys. Cinnamon just makes all the difference in this. I'm just going to take out that bay leaf. And now what I'm going to do, I have a 9 by 13 inch baking pan, and I'm just going to put all of my Souzoukakia in here. So this is what I'm talking about. I love having these half sheet pans because they just make taking, even baking pans and roasting pans out of the oven so easy, and it's so much safer. So I'm going to taste the salt and the seasoning in my tomato sauce to see at this point if it needs some more salt or pepper or something. This is the time that you would add it. Oh my God, it's so good. I think I'll probably use a tiny bit more salt. And I like things a little spicy, so I'll add a little more black pepper. Mix it up, and then I'm just going to pour it right over my Souzoukakia. So my oven's preheated up to 400 degrees. I'm going to let this cook for 30 to 35 minutes, uncovered, just like this, and I'll show you what it looks like as soon as it comes out. Alright, so my Souzoukakia baked at 400 degrees for 30 to 35 minutes. It was 35 minutes actually. And look at how gorgeous they look. Absolutely beautiful. The sauce has cooked down even more. And let me put one in my plate, or two, and show you how delicious this is. If I can get some of the sauce. Separate them a little. This is so flavorful. The meatballs are so moist and light and delicious that you're going to probably burn your tongue and try to eat them because it smells so good. Let me show you what they look like, and we're going to garnish this with a basil leaf because it also freshens the breath, so why not? Look at that. That's beautiful. Go on the website, www.dimitrasdishes.com. Get this recipe and more. Make this as pasta, you guys, with potatoes, whatever. Just make it. It's so, so good. I'm going to cut into this and eat this for lunch. I'll see you guys next time. Go on the website, dimitrasdishes.com. Get this recipe, leave me some comments, and see you guys next time. Bye, everyone.